ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 116 of I Got Gameplay. Yes, it's me, it's Michael Burhan again, back to brighten your days and also to lull you to sleep at night, because I'm that great. If you're listening to this before bedtime, then great, because you're probably going to sleep halfway through it. If not, then welcome. And speaking of very welcoming today, we have also my co-host with me, the very lovely, very effervescent Miss Anina Kasky. Anina, how's it going?
Hello. Nice to be back. I'm sorry I haven't been on the show for a few weeks, but I'm back. I'm here.
I could just picture you just like posing when you're saying that. I'm back.
I was.
Yeah,
I was.
I thought so. You see, you just the way that we know each other so well. It's very awesome. Speaking of awesome, we've got a very special guest today. A very lovely young lady as well, and an amazing cosplayer. I've met her at the Revelations 2 event, and also have, you know, kind of been a fan of hers since she's been on Facebook. That's the very lovely Misty Outbreak. Misty, how's you doing today?
Hi. Great, thank you.
And for our lovely fans out there, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Tell us what you do.
I'm Misty. I started out modelling, and then I went to a Comic-Con and I was like, wow, all these people are dressed up, and I thought, I want to dress up as my favourite game and film characters, and so I did, and that was about 2 years ago now, and I've been doing that ever since. And other than that, I do a lot of pole and other modelling, and I'm really into fitness, and that's me, and I work at a laser gun arena, so yeah, that's my life.
You have some of the coolest jobs in the world, literally. Do you get to fire the laser guns?
Well, I'm allowed to play for free, but not while I'm on shift.
Darn it. I'd be running around picking off each of the little kids.
I do that sometimes. I'm like, oh, is your gun not working? Let me test it. Yeah, I think it's working. Let me just double check. Oh, yep, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, my lives are going. I know it's fine. Just stay there, Timmy. It's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a fun little thing. I think it's a fun little life you lead as well. So
yeah.
In terms of your characters, like you like to cosplay, which is your favourite character?
See, I did enjoy being Doc Emmett Brown from the Back to the Future. That was a great one because I was able to be like really animated with poses. I also like being Poison from Street Fighter Final Fight, and they have all left my head. Oh, and I like being Juliet Starlin from Lollipop Chainsaw.
That's actually a really good game. I know a lot of people kind of hated that game a bit because I think it was more the length of it. But it was actually one of my favourites to play. I enjoyed it, especially with the big fat Elvis, I have to admit.
Yeah. It was nice. Fun. It was nice and cheesy.
It was very cheesy.
Yeah, but it was a good one. No, I enjoyed that one. I liked her character, and like some of the shots they used, like upskirt ones and stuff.
Yeah, Suda is very different in terms of any game developers. He kind of naturally lets you know that he's a bit of a perv. But we love him. He's kind of one of the bright sparks of the Nintendo Wii. When I was first introduced to him with No More Heroes, and it was actually the first show we ever did on I Got Gameplay. We did a retrospective on him. He's just hilarious to be around. And also, for those who don't know, it was actually written, the premise of the story was written by James Gunn, who is the director of Guardians of the Galaxy and also from Trauma fame. So there you go. Hey. So in terms of yourself though, growing up, because we had a little conversation about this and about your childhood, where most kind of like kids, like my childhood specifically, was very game orientated. You know, I grew up with loads of different game consoles, being from the ColecoVision all the way up to like the Super Nintendo, N64, PlayStation, for instance. Yours was very limited, wasn't it?
Yeah, I wasn't allowed. My mum wouldn't have a big games console in the house. So I remember being like sort of 8 or 9, and I was allowed to get my first little Game Boy Color, which like I loved. So yeah, it was. She thought that it wasn't like good for me. Like I needed, or my toys should be educational. But now I've like got into games, I've realised actually a lot of them, I learn a lot from games, like maybe more than I do other stuff. But sometimes I would go to my auntie's house and she had a PS1, and when I went to hers house, I used to love playing Crash Bandicoot and Tomb Raider. Crash Bandicoot was one of my favourites though, and it was the one where you had to get all the Woodamagars, and there was like Sanity Beach and like 3 islands, and then on the first beach I had to like kill Papu Papu and that stuff. That was one of my favourites.
So it's kind of after the Naughty Dog days. It's a really, you know, for Crash Bandicoot as well, it's kind of one of those games that reinvented the whole platforming genre. It took it to kind of like new heights with 3D, in a sense, because we're like kind of transitioning from 2D. For me, one of my favourites, I think it kind of brings back that whole Mario-esque appeal to it as well, because growing up as a kid I had that whole like Mario games. My first handheld actually was the Game Gear, believe it or not. I still got my I still have a Sega Game Gear, not the one that I played on because it was a friend's, but I've got it with one of my favourite games, which is Columns. Love that game. I can sit for. I'm a huge fan of toilet gaming, so I can sit for hours on the toilet and just play that.
Toilet gaming.
Toilet gaming. It's a thing. It is a thing. I bet there's a forum out there for it.
I've heard of casual gaming, but not toilet gaming.
Toilet gaming. It's if you have an iPhone, if you have like a handheld, some way or another, it's been in the toilet with you while you're taking a poop.
That's too risky.
Is it?
I just think it's too risky to have it anywhere near water.
Well, I think for me, what I tend to do is, because there's certain areas that I would position my like handheld systems. Like in one of the bathrooms I use, there's a bath on the side, so I'll just pop my handheld on the bath, not filled with water of course, but I'll put it on the bath on the side, do what I need to do in order to clean myself up, wash my hands, then pick the handheld back up, and then like go in the other room with it.
Yeah. You can sit on the toilet the other way, so you're using the ledge as a little table.
I could try that.
You could do that, yeah.
I could try that. That would make me. That'd be like the cool way of sitting on the toilet. It's like the backwards chair thing. You know, you'd be like, hey, let me jive with you for a sec. While I'm taking
cabaret style.
Cabaret style.
Butters from South Park think that's the way toilets are supposed to be used.
Or they can invent a like a little like handy thing that you just pop over, like those little like food tables. Just go, just pop my handheld on here, or even a chain. Just have like a daisy chain or something, just to pop around your neck. So like going on from that, in terms of like your consoles, then what was the first console that you ever had? In terms,
would have been the Game Boy Color.
What was the favourite game that you liked to play on that one?
Pokemon Red.
Awesome. Yeah, that was actually one of my first Game Boy experiences as well. I wasn't a Mario Land person, I was a Pokemon person.
Really? But mine was Tetris. Tetris on the Game Boy, the first ever Game Boy. This is how I show my age. But yeah.
I enjoyed Tetris.
Tetris, hours and hours. And I had Super Mario on that as well.
Yeah, I completed Tetris. I did that on my brother's. My brother purchased a Game Boy very much when I was younger, but the first game that I got was Pokemon Red. And I remember saving up my own money for that, my own pocket money, and I was like, I want to play this game, and he was like, no. Like, please, no. And then I cried.
No.
Then I cried, and my mum let me have it.
Asteroids and Pac-Man.
Ooh, Asteroids and Pac-Man. I had both of those on the Atari. Pac-Man, not so much. Oh god, that game was terrible on the Atari. That's actually one of the games that caused the video game crash of 1983, I believe. Ah, that shows my age. So, like, in terms of like your favourite console, then what's the console that you like to play currently?
I like playing the Xbox One, and I actually still play my Pokemon Red, but I can play it on. I play it on like a big screen, because I have a modded Xbox. So yeah, I can play still play my Pokemon Red on a very, very big screen.
Oh, I do too. I have my dad. One of the things he left me when he passed on was his Xbox, and his Xbox is modded as well. It's been chipped, and it's got all these like little emulators and bits and pieces on there. So we play anything from like Mammy and and loads of like Game Boy games and Super Nintendo games. And it's not wrong, people. I know people just like, oh, you shouldn't do that. You need the real thing. But as far as I'm concerned, it's my Xbox. I can do what I like with it. Okay. Stop looking at me with those judgmental eyes.
And also, we played, well, up until a short while ago, I was into playing Mario Party on the modded Xbox. But that had to stop because me and my partner, we agreed we would never steal each other's stars. That's like, we would be a team against the computer. We wouldn't steal each other's stars at all. And so, like, we've been playing Mario Party for a while, and I hadn't actually won, and I was getting really upset that I hadn't won. And then one day, I was like, oh, I'm gonna win. There's no way I can't win. And then all of a sudden, my partner, who's like, doesn't normally do this, just leans over and goes to give me a kiss. And I was like, oh, how sweet. He never does that. And then when I looked at the screen, I realised what he'd done. He had stolen my star, and I was not happy about it. And so, which meant I wouldn't be able to win after trying to win all this time. And so I just reached over and just turned the Xbox off. And we went to sleep without talking.
See, Mario Party, it destroys relationships.
Yeah.
You should not.
Never
this is how geek couples break up.
That literally is how geek couples break. I know people who go for counselling for Mario Party. You know, you just sit there and the counsellor's just like looking at you and go, "You stole her star."
And they're like, "Really?"
Yeah, it's just.
It's like, I think it's like Facebook for normal couples. You know, oh, I can't believe you liked her status. With us, it's like, you stole my star. I can never trust you again.
Don't even get me started on that. I wished someone happy birthday by text the other day. And because I didn't wish her happy birthday on her Facebook, she went ballistic. And I'm
but
just
you did it over the phone. You still said.
That's even more personal.
Yeah, I was like, dude, I sent you a text message. And she was like, no, it's, you know, I can't believe you did that. That was horrible. And I'm like, I do not understand what the problem is. And I'm like sitting there and like her and her sister are just looking at me like I'm the most evil, maniacal human being on the planet. I'm twirling my mustache as I say it, you know. Whoa!
I think there's a tick list for ways to wish people happy birthday, because it used to be like, you send you a card, but now it's like, sent the card, sent the text, sent the Facebook, tweeted about it, everything you do.
If you do all four, you really care about that person.
Then shot a monkey out of a cannon holding a balloon with a cigar in its mouth. With like a big thing, get air writing. It's like, oh my,
air writing.
Yeah, you didn't pay that guy to air write my name in the sky, you bastard.
Make an internet meme.
Yeah, it's got to be everything. You've got to make sure that everything is in place. Otherwise, you are the most vile and sadistic human being on the planet. You're worse than Saddam Hussein. How dare you? So going on from that, of course, as well, and the fact that you've basically. As you said, you've got a partner. How long have you guys like been together for? Because it's very kind of rare seeing like two people working kind of in the same thing. Because I can see that he does a lot of your photos as well, working with you on Outbreak Photography.
Yeah, and we've been together for just over 5 years now, and he is completely mad about gaming as well. This room is completely full with so much gaming stuff and so much rare stuff and pictures of games and models of games and everything, and I love it. It's brilliant. Yeah.
So yeah, in terms of like how you guys got started, where did you guys meet? Was it at a gaming convention?
No, actually it was when I was working at Quasar. He was actually going out with, when I very first started, when I was like 16, 17, and I would leave that job ever. And he was going out with a girl who worked at Quasar, and we met at a party, and then I didn't really see him again. The girl he was with got fired after a couple of months. I liked her, but we never got to be very close friends because I only knew her for like 3-4 months. And then he added me on MSN and wanted to do on MSN Messenger and wanted to do like a photo shoot, and so I was like, yeah, okay. And so we met up, and yeah, and that's how. And we got together, and we're still friends with his ex, because she she sort of lives nearby, and we still go see her sometimes, and now I get to be friends with her as well. So it's brilliant.
Oh, that's nice.
That's
so
nice.
It wasn't like a big drama.
No, it was like, it just sort of slotted into place.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, you're dating now? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
You want some pie?
Exactly.
That's how things should happen with X's.
Yeah, it should be.
Should be
Misty, what was your first con and your first cosplay that you did?
So the first one I did, oh my goodness, it's completely left my head. Oh, it was from an anime. It was it was Meguin Luca, but she was like a Vocaloid from an anime, and so. But I didn't really actually know it very well. I have pink hair, and I had like 2 days, and so I was like, I want to do something. What character has pink hair that I can come up with a costume in 2 days? And so I did that. But then I realised that obviously at the conventions, like if you go up to them and you'd be like, oh yeah, I'm cosplaying this character, but I don't really know this character very well. They'll look at you like, oh right, that's bad. And so after that, I started obviously doing characters that I knew slightly better, like Poison and so on with those ones.
Yeah, my first cosplay I did when I was about 15, before I knew what the word cosplay meant. It was Death from Sandman, the comic book, and that was literally leather trousers, black wig that I just ripped to shreds, white makeup, really cool character, but literally took me about 3 days.
Yeah. Is that the same as Death in Deadpool? That's not the same as the Death in Deadpool.
No. She's she just looks like an 80s goth girl.
Oh, brilliant.
She is Death in that series.
Yeah.
And she's got a chain with the Ankh symbol on, that's it. So it's very simple, but she's really cool. She's really perky. She's a perky Death.
Yeah.
I like that.
Cool.
So, in terms of your cosplays, how do you, like, say if you got an idea for a cosplay, how do you put something like that together for those like who are looking to kind of do that?
Well, if you're like me, a lot of the cosplayers are fantastic at, they use like 3D printers, and they can sew, and they can stick, and they can cut latex and make stuff out of it. I'm not like that at all. But they prefer it if you like can make your costume. So every now and then, like my Jessie from Team Rocket, I just like bought that and went for it, which is fine. It's just not as amazing as the people who make it and go to town making sure they get every detail perfect. But then every now and then you get a cosplay like with Poison. I can just go to the shops and I can buy like a white little crop top and some denim jeans and sort of like put a chain around it and make it look like her character. And so if you can sew and stick, then you should do your costumes like that. But if not, then it's like about the participation really. And even if you just buy your costume and or make it out of things like you pop to the shops and just pick up stuff that will go together, I think that's fine as well. So, but it would be nice if I could get a bit better at like I say, sewing and sticking. I wish I could, because then I would be better at it. I did try and make a costume, my Starfire costume I tried to make, but like I thought, right, I found a white sort of like costume that would work, and was like, right, and I'm going to dye this purple. And so I was like, so I put like, I got the hob and I got like some purple clothes dye and heated it up, but it went far too dark because I put like the whole pot in of purple thinking, well, I want to make sure this works, and it went far too dark. But I was happy with the costume, and yeah, and I thought it was good, and I stuck some gems to it, and yeah, I was pleased with it. It was good.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is like trial and error, like anything else. Because I was talking to a few cosplayers about this, and a lot of them are kind of that way that you were saying. They get very annoyed and say, well, this person's not a real cosplayer because they can't make their costume. And I think there's a difference in terms of, you know, what each person kind of adjusts themselves to. Because as you said, like yourself, you're more of the kind of I'll try and put something together, but if not, if I've got access to the costume, I'll put the character together. And I think a lot of it is due to playing the character and playing the character well.
Yeah.
In a sense, because I've known there's some who will basically go, let's be a slutty Link, which I don't understand. That doesn't make sense to me. I'm just like, how can Link? I don't get that. Where others, they kind of get more into their characters. They make sure that things are sort of accurate and that you have the character down. So, for instance, like someone like Poison, you've probably done a bit more research. You played the games. You know who she is. You know that basically the reason behind the way that her character dresses to kind of, so you can portray her kind of accurately.
Yeah.
So going on from that, let's ask you about like, because I know you. I was looking currently at your Facebook page as well, Outbreak Photography's Facebook page. You guys do kind of like a film company as well, and like stunts and stuff like that.
Yes.
How did that came about?
That's fantastic. Yeah, that's mainly what my partner sort of used to be into, though he's still into it now. It's just that when, like, because that was more, I think, a hobby while he was younger and like sort of having fun. But and he's still got some films he's hoping to make. He's like got all the footage and he's hoping to sort of put together some films. But yeah, more nowadays he's doing the photography just because it's I think it's better work, and now he's older, it's like, okay, yeah, need to get the work rather than the films. Although we are still doing a bit of the filming, and it's great fun whenever we get a chance to do that. He always comes, and whenever I've got like a pole event, he'll come film that, and yeah, make little videos for me out of them.
Well, let's ask you a question about the pole events that you do. What are these events entail? Because it's like, because I never knew like there's so much else to it. Because when you think of pole dancing, you think of kind of like strip clubs or pole classes, but there's a lot bigger spectrum to it as well.
Oh, it's yeah, it's like, it's literally, it's like, there is the sexy side to it, but then, and like that is still, like, I still completely respect the sexy side to it, and it's a bit of fun to do a sexy routine sometimes, but it's like gymnastics, except the bar is vertical.
Yeah, it's incredibly acrobatic. You need so much strength and flexibility to be able to do it.
Yeah.
I was working at an event, and they had a male pole dancer, and he was amazing. He was like Prince of Persia. That's what he was. And you could see all the men sort of in their suits in the room going, well, you know, what's this puff gonna do? And by the end of it, he had a standing ovation because he was just mind-blowing.
Do you know his name? I might know him.
No, I don't. I can't remember because I was just doing back in the day when I did catering, just doing the catering for that event. And I remember they hauled the pole on, you know, into this massive hall where they were having this dinner.
Yeah.
I just remember he has a shaven head and he had sort of this Prince of Persia look going on.
Yeah, that wasn't me, I swear.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not what I do at night. I fight crime in Gotham. Yeah.
Are you sure? Get the billowy white trousers out.
Yeah, I do that, and I dance on the pole for businessmen and executives. Just like, hey, it's my Prince of Persia thing going on.
Well, he was much more. He was more about the acrobatic side of it rather than, you know.
Yeah.
The sexy side.
The classic side.
Yeah. He was. I've done a few courses on pole dancing as well, and it's so much fun. So much fun.
Yeah. And all the girls who do it and all the boys who do it, they're such nice people. And like, since doing pole, I've got a whole nother big group of friends as well. So I've got, like, friends from Comic Cons, I've got friends from pole, and then obviously the friends you went to school with and work with, and I'm just got so many friends, and like I never thought my life would be like this with so many friends.
Yeah. Was your first class? Did you leave the next day going, I'm in so much pain? I have muscles in me that I never knew I had in pain.
Yeah, I felt sick with pains in my arms. It was horrible. Yeah. And like my abs, like everywhere was killing, and it was brilliant. Like, but it was nice pain.
Yeah. No, the next day, me and my boyfriend went to the cinema. I was literally like, don't touch touch me.
Yeah, honey, can I have a kiss? Hurts. No, go away.
Yeah, everything hurts. Don't cuddle. Yeah. No, go away. It hurts. And I was like, these is all mine. All my popcorn. Go away. That's how much pain I was in. But he understood.
Well, it reminds me of my first time doing, when I was doing professional wrestling, when I attended my first class, I came out of it and I went to work the next day and I could not move my arms. My tendons were sore. So I'd like, every time I had to pick up the phone, because my job was picking up the phone most of the time, I was like going, yeah, yeah. And the nurses were just looking at me going, are you okay? I'm fine. Just hello.
Speakerphone.
Yeah, it's just like, I need to press. It literally took me about 2.5 minutes just to get my finger onto the phone. And as soon as I got home, I kind of like slept for hours as soon as I got in, because I needed to get my muscles to recuperate. It was ridiculous. But it is one of those things. You kind of use these muscles that you've never used before, then it gets used to it, and then your body kind of adjusts to everything, which is a good thing. And it's and I think anybody who can do anything athletic needs to be applauded. Because
I want to do wrestling as well. That's my next world I want to conquer.
Ooh, what, pro wrestling?
Wrestling, yeah. I think I love to do wrestling.
It's I can give you a name of a few of the schools that I know, so I'll exchange those with you. The reason why I don't do it anymore is because I broke my ankle, which was a shame.
Oh no!
Yeah, it was a kind of a big thing. I ended up I was doing really well actually. I wrestled some amazing talents like Eddie Guerrero down in Crystal Palace. Did a bit of touring, was going to go and do a tour of Japan and a tour of Mexico, and then I got injured, so I had to basically say goodbye to it because I was a stubborn git and said, oh yeah, I know this is my ankle's torn, but I'll go back in the ring anyway. And then
you let it heal.
Yeah, didn't let it heal, and then I ended up basically having my ankle tear itself off the bone, which was fun. I was in a cast for nearly 6 months, so, yeah. And it still kind of hurts as well. It's not really great. But I do know the name of a few schools, and I think you probably would excel at that. Now, going on from that, do you like any other, like, because I know in terms of like nerd culture, because you're immersed in it a lot, especially with the fact that you do the cosplays, you love your gaming. You know, you talk to us about your various systems and consoles. Do you read like stuff like comic books? Do you watch any like TV shows? So we'll go with that one actually first. What's your favourite comic book to read, or do you read comics?
No, I've not actually had like too much sort of exposure to comic books. Like if I was to go into a comic book shop, I would not, and I've been in them, I would not know where to start at all. But there's someone at my work who is into comics, and every now and then he'll bring me in a little something Harley Quinn to read, and I'll have a read of the little Harley Quinn things, and I enjoy reading those, and she's such a great character to read. He's like, and then some I always thought every cosplayer had cosplayed like red and black Harley Quinns, and then he had like put me in red and blue Harley Quinn. I'm like, red and blue Harley Quinn? Oh my goodness, this is like something I've not seen as much of. But yeah, I don't really read comics, like, because I've not had the exposure. I wouldn't know where to look. If I did know what I was looking for, then maybe I would. But I have, like, when someone brings one in, I'm like, ooh, I'm going to get a sneaky read of this. And yeah. But so if I was to, though, it would have to be obviously Harley Quinn comics, because she's such a great naughty little character.
So in terms of like, because I know you like your TV shows, because that's one thing that kind of drew me to you in a sense. Because I remember we were sitting down at the Resident Evil Revelations event, and I'm sitting there talking to you, and you're just like, yeah, I just got up this morning, I watched like a couple of episodes of Frasier. I was like, oh, kindred spirit.
Yeah, addicted to Frasier. I have to put it on every day, every morning. I can't get ready like for my day unless I'm watching Frasier. But my partner hates Frasier, and he's like, "Can you not just turn this off?" I'm like, "No, I can't turn this off. I have to get ready."
I like that show too. It's great.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Like I remember, Michael posted yesterday about Michael Keaton being his like the best Batman, and I was like, Michael Keaton, that's Lilith's sociopathic half brother who like pretends to be in the wheelchair.
Yeah, I watched that the other day. I was just sitting there like, and he was going on about her brother, and I remember just as soon as he comes into the room, I was like, oh my god, Michael Keaton! Oh! And my brother's just like giving me funny looks. I was just like, oh, it's Michael Keaton! It's Michael Keaton! By the way, guys, he didn't win the Oscar for Birdman, which I think is a shame. I think he's for those. I think he really needed it as kind of that shot in the arm in a sense. I don't even know who
I
won,
think he'll still rejuvenate his career.
Yeah, no, of course. I think he's seen a lot more credible now in terms of what he was previously, in a sense, because the film's so good. And I was saying this to a friend of mine recently who didn't understand it. I was like, it mirrors a lot in his own career. And it kind of shows the fact that he couldn't shake away this whole superhero thing. You know, he's known definitive as Batman. You know, a lot of people call him as the Batman, you know, in terms of the film adaptations, because he was seen as kind of a small, scrawny guy. No one understood the reason why he was going to be playing this character, and he doesn't really have that much of an acting background. He was never like a classically trained actor. He wasn't trained in kind of Strasberg or Meisner or even Stanislavski in a sense. He was just a guy who worked as a producer on the Mr. Rogers show, and then ended up getting his own kind of show from there, and then eventually, because of his improv skills, he then got cast in like loads of TV shows and movies. So, you know, he's not the conventional type of actor, but I think he's so good because he's progressed over the years. You know, he's really, really entertaining. So in terms of like shows and stuff, what else do you watch? Are you more kind of into the comedy fan? In terms of what you like to watch?
I love everything. I love something if I think it's good. Like, and it doesn't have to be a particular genre. I just think it's got to be good, really cleverly made, and that's what Frasier is. I would love to be into more things, but I don't have the time to watch them.
Yeah.
It's Frasier. I know, and Frasier's just something, because I know the story, like, and know the episodes, I can put it on in the background, and sort of without watching it, and often without even hearing it, I just know what's going on, and it's sort of, it comforts me, Frasier does. But yeah, there's other stuff I'd like to watch, but I haven't got around to. I did try the Agents of Shields, but like you've got to put in so much thought to it.
Yeah, that is true. I find that sometimes as well with some shows that I've been watching, because that's on my. What I usually have is I have a burn list. So whenever I've got free time, I'll burn through a series of something, and Agents of Shield's one of my burn list. And if you miss one episode, you don't know what the hell's going on. And that's the annoying part. It's, you know, Josh Whedon's a very creative kind of fellow, because like if you've seen like the Buffy series, for instance, he's really good at.
I'm watching that at the moment. That's what I'm watching. I'm watching Buffy. Yes, you've just
Buffy's fab.
I've never watched that my whole life, and now I'm watching Buffy.
There's the movie, because the series spawned from the comedy film.
Yeah.
That was out with Luke Perry. That's when Luke Perry was a big thing. Remember that? Remember when Luke Perry was a big thing? I do. Pepperidge Farms remembers. And,
I vaguely do. What's happened to Luke Perry?
I don't know. He looks the same. It's actually quite hilarious. But yeah, it spawned from that, and Josh Whedon was one of the guys who actually wrote the original. So he had the rights to it and then made the TV show. And the TV show is so much better because the humour's still there, but it's more a lot darker. You have the whole Scooby dynamic, so you've got this like person-to-person interaction between her and everyone else, who are a bunch of nobodies, but end up turning into like building their own characters. And he knows how to build these characters so well and create such an amazing universe in a sense. It's one of the reasons why I love like Supernatural, for instance, because it kind of has the same dynamic in a sense. It takes away some of what made Buffy so great, and you know, does it with its own sort of show. And with that, it was a shame that they ended up ending it eventually. They finished it, and it was kind of they gave it kind of
Don't give it away.
Yeah, they kind of had the open-ended finish, but it was a very good finish. It was kind of one of those things where you can sit there and go, okay, it's ended, or from other you know, and they've continued it in comic form anyway. Where you could sit there and go, oh, you know, that works. Maybe I'll read the comics and continue watching it. So it's really good, and he always does the one thing which I think a lot of directors and writers don't tend to do, which is he can build a strong female character. You know,
definitely.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons why
Shakespeare couldn't write a strong female character at all.
Yeah,
his men are fantastic, but his females are so weak and pathetic.
Yeah, but a lot of
Shakespeare.
Yeah, and then he doesn't know what to do with them, so he's just like, we'll just have to kill her or marry her. One of the two.
Yeah. But a lot of
I
his
like
stuff
Goneril, though. I think Goneril's kick-ass. I did her monologue recently for an audition. I think she's one of the few spunky ones he has, honestly.
Yeah, that's King Lear, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Regan, yeah. Oh, they're good ones. Goneril and Regan.
See, I'm impressed. I'm really impressed here. You're talking Shakespeare.
Yeah, so that's what I was into when I was little, because my mum wouldn't let me play games, so I was like reading Shakespeare, and all the other kids were playing games.
Yeah. Let's read comic books. Now I'm just going to basically read about
I've got Shakespeare edition with Misty Outbreak.
Yeah, But that's really, really interesting as well, because it can show something in terms of like the way that you are and the way that you've actually grown up in comparison to some people. A lot of people don't even know what who Shakespeare is. And I think one of my defining moments for Shakespeare is like the fact that one of my favourite characters is Macbeth. I love him because he's such a diverse kind of individual, because he goes from being this, again, like a kind of a manipulated guy who's supposed to have a moral compass, to turning into, like, especially with like the help of Lady Macbeth and the little kind of thoughts been put in his head by the witches, he turns into this corruptible, uber paranoid psychopath in a sense. And eventually, like, everything that happens in this play sort of comes to pass, and it really intrigues me because I love characters like that. The most fascinating ones I find are ones that are not normal conventions. They're very different. It's one of the reasons why I like characters like Dexter, for instance. When I watched that show where Michael C. Hall did that character, it's very he's not a conventional. He's not considered normal by people's standards, but he would always find a way to act normal. So it's kind of going through the whole mythos of like serial killers. American Psycho is another one with Christian Bale. You have such well drawn out characters that kind of overextend in terms of the human psyche, and it brings about they're very beautifully written, they're very detailed, very ambitious in a sense, in their own ways. So let's ask you actually a little question on that. Where do you see yourself in, say, the next 5 years? What would you like to kind of progress into?
So in terms of cosplays, I would like to have know how to, as I say before, sew and stick. I doubt I'll ever get to know like how to use a 3D printer at all, but never mind that. I would like, obviously, to have a little bit more money in order to to learn that. So I do need to leave my lovely job at Quasar and get something a bit more grown up and realistic. And I would like to have completed a lot of the games I've started but haven't quite finished, which is that I've been playing the Back to the Future game, like sort of continuing on from the third one, but because, like I said, I don't have too much time. And so I don't get around to do it. I'd like to complete all the Resident Evil games. I want to go from like start to finish, from the very old consoles to the new ones, and do those games. And I'm a big fan of hidden object games. Like, I love to have like one of them games where it's a really messy room, and like find all the little objects that are hidden that like you should be able to find, but they're completely gone. And yes, so I just see myself sort of still happy and still doing a bit of like modelling and cosplaying, and my pal, just with a bit more money to do it with, I think. Yeah, that's where I see myself, and like
the dream.
The dream.
Hey, you know what? The thing is, I always say
the dream of a freelancer. Every freelancer is to have the money to be able to do all your creative things.
Well, I always say it to people, when it comes to it, it's doable. I've one of the guests we had on this show as well is like Megaran. He at the moment is doing so well, and he basically went from being a as he puts it, a rapper teacher hero, in a sense, because he used to teach kids, and he was doing this music thing on the side. He was like, no, people said, oh, you can't rap over video game beats, you can't like. It won't be successful trying to be an independent recording artist, and he's done so well on his own. It's one of those things where you can't ever say never, in a sense, and it's one of and that's what I want to bring out to you guys out there. Don't ever give up on what you want to do. If you want to do something, you got a game plan, you know what you want to do, and you know how you want to do it. Do it. There is no reason why you shouldn't. But you've got to be smart about it. If you're gonna do it and you're gonna need a bit of an additional income, get the secondary job. Do the secondary job. Make sure it's something that you can tolerate, that you can have fun in, while you're doing your thing at the same time. If not, find ways to kind of fundraise and get yourself through it. Like developing a fan base and doing stuff like Indiegogo or Kickstarter to kind of help you out, or even release a Patreon. So, Misty, that's another thing I want to ask. Are you very active on social media, such as YouTube, for instance?
Not so much these days. I did try to be, but like I said, I've got to work. I don't have the time to do my YouTube. I would have liked to as well, but I don't know, maybe I'm just, not that I'd say I'm not interesting enough, but like I need the time to sort of like sit down and think like I want to make a nice video this week for you. What am I gonna do? But I think rather than, I can start to like get back into my YouTube, just not making a video every single week, just give something, just like do something and give it out there every couple of months. That's what I would like much rather be doing. As for social media, I'm active on Facebook. I've got an Instagram. I've got myself a Twitter. I have no idea what I am doing with them. I don't understand them at all. I need to teach myself. I got one of those, like, because up until like last April, May time, I didn't have a phone that could do like internet and Facebook, like a smartphone. And so I needed to get one, and I thought like having a smartphone I would like be really good with that. I think I should have got an iPhone now, because like if something happens and I want to take a quick picture or a selfie, I'm like, how do I get to my camera? Or when one of my friends at Pole will do a fantastic move, I'm like, let me just get my camera. Whereas the people with an iPhone just go flick and there's a camera and there's a fantastic photo. Yeah, so
yeah, the great thing about it.
Yeah.
The great thing about the iPhone is you've got there's a little camera thing, and all you've got to do is just like flick it up and oh, camera done.
Yeah, that's what they've all got, and that I should have got. But everyone told me to get not to get an iPhone, to get an Android, and I hate those people for now that I'm stuck with this Android.
Damn you, Android people! Look what you've done.
Yeah.
She can't take photos in Pole. It's your fault. Hold your heads in shame. Just disgusting. No, but it's agreed. When it comes to social media at the moment, things have gotten so much harder in terms of the way that we put out content. You know, I'm very active on YouTube myself. I do my own little review shows and stuff. And you know, a lot of people say to me, oh, you know, with what you do, with the content you put out, you should have a bigger fan base. And it doesn't work like that anymore. And it's kind of a shame, because usually, you know, you have certain people that kind of can make a living doing, you know, what we tend to go out and do at the moment. And you know, you've got cosplayers out there visiting cons, getting paid sponsorships, and working to kind of continue to subsidize their income, where now with a lot of people who are just starting out, they're kind of, those doors are kind of slowly closing in a sense. But it's as I said, it's still doable. It's still something that you just got to work hard at, and it's just finding the hours in the day to do it. Because I always find it's not enough hours in the day to do anything. You know,
no.
It's like if I edit a video,
definitely never enough time.
Yeah, it's like if I edit a video,
Never
then I'm probably going to spend the whole day editing a video. Or if I'm going to do a monologue, I've got to spend the whole day, you know, reading a monologue. If I'm writing a script, I'm going to spend a week writing a script. And you're sitting there trying to find the hours to do everything else. It's like my room. You're saying your room's a tip. The room I'm sitting in at the moment has got console parts lying around. I've got a box there that I still got to send out to Rob Man of Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2. In there, it's like the special edition one with the casket and stuff, which was a present I got from ages ago. I've got towels, clothes, shoes, paperwork. I've got loads of stuff all over. Oh, I've got my Cicely Berries, Finding Your Voice, on the floor as well. So yeah, I'm basically if you're looking at slobs, I'm probably the #1 slob at the moment, and that's fun. That's literally, my flat is just full of junk because I'm not in there most of the time. It's just like, hey, I'm home. I'm just gonna walk over the junk and just lie down on the bed. I'm not gonna clean. I'm not gonna clean. I want to clean. But yeah, so in terms of like yourself, if you could be any video game character, say like you had the choice to be any character out there, in current gen games and retro games, who would you most like to be? And it's anybody. It doesn't have to be someone that you can basically put together the costume for. If you had a choice to be anyone, who would it be?
Just be them.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm literally, my head isn't, I've never thought about this in my whole life. My head is like circulating. Give me a really strong woman. A really strong,
oh, I know which one I'd
Go on, Anina.
play. I know which one I'd pick. What came to my mind the first, and I think I'll stand by my choice. I think would be Lulu from Final Fantasy VII, because she can do magic.
Yeah.
And she has a little Moogle. That makes me happy. You have a cute little thing that's alive, and you have magic. And she's got an amazing wardrobe, so the essentials of life just there.
Agreed on that one.
At my games, thinking like trying
Powerful
to
magic, animated.
something. Okay, I think I'm just going to be the little Pokemon character in my Pokemon games, because wouldn't that be just the loveliest world to be in?
Which is
just
who is your favourite Pokemon, by the way? It's one thing.
my favourite Pokemon. Oh my goodness! There's so many. You're asking me things. Squirtle, because it's original and it was always the one that I had from the beginning, and it's my little Squirtle. I think I'll have.
He also has awesome shades.
Yeah.
If you watch the Pokemon anime, he has awesome shades.
He's got great. I like the voice. I like the sound he made.
Squirtle.
Yeah.
Squirtle.
My favourite actually is Charmander, because I like my little fire Pokemon, especially if you can basically raise him to a suitable level. He can burn the crap out of anything. So I just sit there and I'm like, yeah, you Charmander, you do that, you burn that person. I become a bit of a pyromaniac. I'm very weird in my Pokemon games. I just sit there like, burn it.
Then 6 months after, when you're like cleaning up ashes.
Yeah. Burn them. Burn them.
I like to be cleaning ashes all the time.
I like Squirtle, so I must be a hydromaniac.
I think it's a smart move as well if you're playing the classic games, because the first badge that you get is the Rot badge. So Squirtle can actually like destroy any Rot Pokemon.
Yeah. When I tried starting with Bulbasaur, I could never beat Brock in that first gym.
Yeah,
when I picked Bulbasaur.
He's the worst one to pick out of like the original Pokemon for some reason, because he's like grass type, and you're sitting there and you're just
because he's like a flower. Yeah.
But when you evolve him, he's a lot better. So what I tend to do, I kind of cheat a little bit. So I've got Pokemon Red and Blue. So I'll go into Blue and I'll connect both my Game Boys. So I'd have Charmander, Squirtle, and Bulbasaur as my starters. So I'd have all 3 of the starters in one game. And
wow.
My friends always used to sit there and just look at me and go, "You're a git." Like, yeah, how did you get them all? It's like, I just had loads of friends with those Pokemon. Yeah.
I bet you had a lot of Pidgeys to build those up.
Yeah. It's all it is. You just like fight some random Pokemon, you capture them, and then when you go in there, you just basically just keep trading and trading and trading until you have those 3. But I did that recently as well with X and Y, because I've got X and Y for the Nintendo 3DS. And what was the new one? My brother got me a new one for my birthday. I believe it's Soul Sapphire. I think. Don't kill me, people. But yeah, it's basically the other new one that's just came out in December. I haven't played that yet because I've just been too busy. I've been sitting there like, I want to play it, I want to play it, I want to play you. Oh, editing, got to edit a video. Oh, casting, I've got to do it. Too much to do. So yeah, I've kind of killed my hopes and dreams of actually.
Yeah, that's me.
You just sit there and you're like, I want to play. Someone goes to me the other day. What
Definitely,
do you do for fun? Edit.
What's that? What's free time? I don't know it.
Yeah, I was like, yeah.
The stack of games I've got to play is about 20.
I know it's literally.
And when I get half an hour, I go.
No, it's the same thing. It's like
when you get half an hour, you want to play something you already know, so you're not learning.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, you want to get when the new game, you want to have like a good 2 hours that you're going to get into that. Like, you focus your time on it and get into the story.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. You don't want something too complicated. Currently, I'm playing Dragon Age Inquisition for a review, and I'm not even a quarter of the way through it because I have to keep putting it down and doing something else. and I go back into it, and it's like, ooh, the story's getting interesting. Oh, I've got to do this. Okay, pad down, and like get stuff done. And the thing is as well, once I pick up a pad, I could spend an entire day playing a game. You wouldn't see me. You wouldn't hear from me. You know, I'd have people wondering if I'm still alive because I'm sitting there just like playing a game on my PlayStation. But it really is annoying. That's another thing that we've got to point out. It's finding the time. If you're a busy bee like the rest of us on this podcast, it's finding the time trying to actually play something. And I think that's where a lot of retro games were pretty good, because I can, like, I've got like the Simpsons arcade game on my Xbox 360. I can play that and beat it within an hour, just like that, you know. And with the short games and the indie titles, that's pretty much it. Now let me ask you a question in terms of Resident Evil, Misty. You said that you played through the Resident Evil games. Have you played the new HD remake that they put out?
I haven't actually played through them. It's just something I really, really, really want to do. But I've watched people play the very first one an awful lot of the time, and I love it so much. I love the dialogue between the characters, and like the whole, like, you were almost Jill Sandwich.
Oh, that's the go-to line.
Yeah. So but something I want to, and I did play before the premiere. I did play a bit of the previous one, and that was good. I liked like scanning the lumps of crap. Like with the scanner, I thought that was really good fun. And yep, that is something I'm gonna play through. Like I will definitely play through those. I can't wait to. But again, it's finding the time.
Yeah.
And yeah,
that's
finding the time, and then yeah.
So let me ask, what type of games do you like to play in your spare time? So say you've got like a little bit of spare time. What's your go-to game? Is it Pokemon?
Sometimes. At the moment, since I think I mentioned to you that I have like a ridiculously old rickety laptop, and I enjoy putting in. Actually, recently I just played some games that I did play as a child on the computer, like a CD-ROMs. I put in my old Sabrina the Teenage Witch ones, and I was enjoying playing one of the Teenage Sabrina ones, and it was brilliant because I had to make like spells out of objects I found, and then like get the beanie of ultimate power back. But you guys probably won't like know about that. It's more like me just being a bit young and kiddie. And then there was another one I played, but like I'd messaged the person I bought them off saying these will all play on my Windows XP, and he was like, yes, they will all play on your Windows XP. And then one of them was only valid on Windows 98, and so there was me, not very technological, desperately trying to make my Windows XP play Windows 98, and I was like YouTubing how can I do it, and watching like people demonstrate, and I almost did it. I got to about halfway through getting into it when it was like, what's your name? And so I typed in my name, and then it said like, nope, we can't take you any further. You need to have this thing in order to play it. And so yeah, I was really upset I couldn't play that one. And I like I'll put in like I said before, hidden object games. I like them, like mystery case files and all that kind of stuff. I'll put in. Oh, and obviously the Back to the Future game is what I'm into at the moment, playing the new one.
Is that the Telltale one?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one.
So tell us about that one. How far have you got on that game?
I think I'm might have just finished the second chapter I'm on, and so in the first bit, he's like finishes killed the he's gotten back into the future, but then he has to go like back to the future. He needs Emmett to, oh gosh, I've forgotten it all, but yeah, he needs to get Emmett Brown, who's like, oh yeah, he's found out Emmett's gone to prison, and he needs to, for killing like someone or something, and then yeah, he goes back and he has to get the young Emmett Brown, because the young Emmett Brown's only got the knowledge that he can then go back in time and stop the old Emmett Brown going to prison. The young Emmett Brown doesn't want to talk to him, so I have to find a way to make the young Emmett Brown talk to him, and then the young Emmett Brown can't see the old Emmett Brown, because obviously then he'll be freaked out by seeing like his older self, and that's a really good one. And then he goes to and I spent this level took me about like over an hour. He goes to the young Emmett Brown's house, and he has to like sort of they have to really quickly come up with this sort of potion, and but then he's getting told off by his dad, and then I have to sort of listen out to what he's saying, to what I have to do. So if he's like, oh, and something about food, that's like, right, I've got to feed the fish, and then I'm listening out to what he's got to help do, make an explode, and then I have to quickly make it explode. So he's trying to work in the words with his argument with his dad that I can hear, and then I've got to quickly run around the room doing all the things he's saying, and it took me over an hour, because it sounds easy, but it's not easy at all to get up there. Yeah. And so I'm in like midway through the second chapter. Again, it's probably been about a month since I've put that in to play, but I'll be playing that soon and getting on with that one.
So in terms of like Back to the Future, have you like watched the movies?
Over and over and over and over again when I was younger. I'm less of a fan of the third one, but it's because it's brown. Like I like films and games. I prefer
the sad
to be more colourful, have lots of like pinks and reds and blues and greens, but the Wild West, like sort of Back to the Future, was so brown and dingy that I prefer to watch the first two, where it's like bright hoverboards and bright clothes and all 80s and things like that. Yeah, in 2015.
No, I think that the third one was the one, like, it's kind of like Marmite to some people. Some people loved it and thought it was one of the best ones. Others thought that because it was a Western, it was out of place, in a sense.
Yeah.
Which is a shame, because it's the part 2 and part 3 were actually shot back to back, so it was shot as a continuous movie, and then they just chopped it up into 2 films.
Yeah.
But it was one of those where I like the first one, I like the second one, the third one I like it just because the fact that there's a lot, it's kind of meta in a way. Because you have like Marty's basically like saying he's Clint Eastwood in the movie as well, and he uses stuff from like The Man with No Name, where he gets shot by Biff. Biff's like great grandfather, and has the plate off and stuff like that, and it's a really nice way to kind of tie up the series as well, because it gives like Doc Brown has like he meets his wife and stuff. But I thinking about it now, when I was a kid I was like, oh, this was great. Thinking about it now, I'm sitting there thinking, this guy's created a lot of fucking time paradoxes. He's like destroyed the fabric of the universe just because he marries a woman like from the past, brings her to the future so she has no fucking clue, you know, so he's basically destroyed her entire timeline anyway. And then
I liked all 3.
Yeah. So
I liked all 3.
Which one's your favourite?
They went away from. I liked all 3.
Which
the first one's my favourite, just because it was.
Yeah, I liked the second one best. But I think I like the game is like the fourth Back to the Future. It just continues the story. Like, this is what happened next. And that's why I have to play it, is because I have to know what happens next.
That's true, and I think Telltale does a lot of great. They've kind of single-handedly brought back the point-and-click genre in a sense, and they've managed to kind of keep you immersed in the stories that they've managed to introduce. It's like the young fellow who plays Marty in this sounds a lot like Michael J. Fox. You even have Michael J. Fox do a cameo in the game as well. The fact that Christopher Lloyd's back playing Emmett Brown, you know, makes me like freaking smile, because he's one of my favourite things. I've got my Emmett Brown wig around here somewhere, because I do my stripper Doc Brown sometimes, and it's it is one of those things where it's timeless, and I think a lot of like nostalgic stuff that's kind of being repurposed now is timeless. And I actually want to ask you a little question, because this is a debate that I'm having with a lot of different people about the new all-female Ghostbusters movie. What's your take on that? Do you like the idea of that? Do you think it's something that would work, or do you think meh? You know.
My partner thinks meh, but I like good female. Like, I would watch something better if it's mostly women. I'll enjoy it. I love women characters, and so if it's well characterized, I think I'm gonna really enjoy it. I'm not ridiculously obsessed with the first Ghostbusters. Like, not like I am Back to the Future. I love Bill Murray, like, oh, Bill Murray, but
he is my god.
No, I know, but I think. But I think it might be good. Like you can't knock something until you've watched it, until you've seen what they've done with it. I think. So I think it could be good.
The thing is, I don't mind this, but the one thing that kind of peed me off, and it's Paul Feig when he went out and just basically said, "We're not going to acknowledge the previous 2 movies, and the game, which is like basically 3 parts to that story." And I sat there and I thought about it and thought the least you could have done is brought Dan Aykroyd in, you know, because I know the other cast members, like for instance, Ramis has passed on, you know, God rest his soul, so he can't be in it. Reitman doesn't want to direct it. The guy who played Winston, I keep forgetting what his name is, doesn't want to be in it as well, and Murray doesn't want to be in it. And the thing that I would have done is I would have gone the route of having Dan Aykroyd in there kind of mentoring these women. So it allows to bridge the gap between the other series of films and this one. And the issue that I have with it is that he's just like, no, don't want to acknowledge it, but I'm still going to call it a Ghostbusters movie, which is where I think is where you kind of piss the fans off in a sense. But
yeah,
you know, I'm up for seeing a strong female cast. I don't mind seeing an all-female cast. The thing for me is, you just got to acknowledge what you're trying to, the material, you know, the previous material, acknowledge the fact that this exists, rather than just, you know, saying, yeah, it's going to be an all new, it's going to be its own thing, which is a shame. So, in terms of that, Anina, what do you think of that? I've never asked you your opinion.
After Ghostbusters, though.
Yeah.
Hello? We talked about this on the podcast, remember? We did.
Are you pro or against?
I'm gonna watch it and see what they make of it.
Cool. Okay.
I'm waiting to see. I'm gonna see that. It's great that they're making a film that's all female characters. I love that there's not enough films where there are, you know, females as like a group. As the main leads. But I did love the first Ghostbusters film, so I'm just bit of both. Bit scared to see if they completely ignore the first 2, but also excited about the aspect that they put, you know, 4 great women together. We'll see.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll see.
Another little question I want to ask you there, Misty, is, in terms of retro and current gen consoles, which one are you more partial to?
Retro, because the new nowadays it's like you have your games console, but your games console is your everything. Like I go to my games console to watch Netflix, and I go there like to just communicate with people. I like the old style. I like it when it was like cute and like it was very animated. Like I like the colours in the old ones. I like everyone's like, oh, the graphics are bad. I don't need like amazing realistic graphics. I like 8-bit like cute little graphics like that. I think it's so much nicer. And I feel like before the games they were far more like not necessarily not complicated, but they were like straightforward. And like we recently just like got hold of a Retron 5, and we're really enjoying that. And we've been playing like Paperboy, and it's so much, we can like sit there and have so much fun just like throwing the newspapers, trying not to hit the windows and like annoy the people. And I think that's just such nice like cute little fun. Whereas now yeah, it's just I just don't feel like it's as good now. Like I don't care if the graphics are amazing. I like old school little graphics. And it's like, as well, it's more sociable, because like if you wanted to play like with more than a few people, like you have to bring your mates round. But now like you see your friends less because you can just talk to them and they'll hear you in their house miles and miles away. I like being able to like sit with my friends and play games and have like social and get like a pizza and that kind of thing. Yeah, so I think it's better if I prefer retro.
I agree with you on all points. The last game I was playing on my retro, my NES, it was Bureau Fighter. I was sitting down. I plugged it up to my HDTV, and I was like playing it. I was around my mum's house, and she sat down next to me, and she was watching me play the game. And she's like, "What's this?" I was like, "It's a game my dad used to play," and I'm just like sitting there playing the game. And then for some reason she kept talking, and I kept dying. And I was like, "Mum, leave. Leave the room. I need to play."
You're distracting
Yeah.
me.
She just kept talking. She's like, "I'm trying to have a conversation." I was like, "I'm trying to play the game." But yeah, no, all points. I agree with you on that one. I think a lot of gaming now has become very, very antisocial. To the point where it's easier of convenience because it means I can play with a lot of my friends who live international. You know, people that I know that aren't going to be in the room with me. But there are certain aspects of it where you sit there and think, damn, you know, it's how the heck am I supposed to like play this game with people, or how am I supposed to enjoy my time with other people when, you know, you've got all this access to the internet and everything now, when you can't really, you know, be around people. I think it's kind of an extrovert's nightmare in a sense. What about you, Anina? What's your favourite? What do you say, retro or current gen?
Oh, I'd have to say I play more current gen.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something lovely about retro gaming that current gen doesn't have. I guess it's the simplicity because they had less to do with. You know, it didn't look amazing and lifelike, so they were really, really clever. So I'd love to do more retro gaming. Actually, I should do more.
You should.
And you know, like Paperboy. Oh my god, the hours I spent playing that with my friends. Yeah. Absolutely hours, and that was really hard to get the paper where you wanted it to go. Yeah, well, I'm a huge Tetris fan, like old school Tetris. I know they made a million versions of Tetris, but Game Boy Tetris. God, I tried to think how many hundreds of hours I spent on that.
There's actually a copy of
through
Tetris
that game
for the
way
Sega
too many
Mega
times.
Drive, by the way. They've got limited copies of it. They released, I think it was like 5 copies they released. Nintendo put a block on it, and they stopped selling it. But there's copies flying around out there for the Sega Mega Drive. I was just like, oh, amazing. So, yeah, it's stuff like that it's like I didn't even know there was an NES2 previously until I watched the Game Historian. So, Misty, last question to kind of ask you: where can we find you? So, say if I was a fan, I was looking out there trying to find out who you are, where you are, where can we find you?
You can definitely, you will find me at Kitacon in like late July, August. You will see me there, and I know that is going to be the one I'm going to like start soon. I'm going to put together some fantastic cosplays that I haven't decided what yet, but they're going to be good. I'll probably do Psylocke one of the days to go with Deadpool and like hang around about some Deadpools and like have some fun with them. If you're going to see me at a convention, it's probably going to be on one of the Sundays, unless I've like got the whole weekend off work. I work mainly always on a Saturday unless I've got a holiday, and so you'll definitely see me on Sundays at MCM, LFCC, probably LSCC as well, maybe MCM Birmingham, I'm not too sure yet. And also, if any of you wanted to come to a pole competition, I might not be competing for a few months because I just competed, and so I'm like relaxing my muscles for a bit. But yeah, you can find me at a pole competition, and there's quite a few coming up. And yeah, or come to Quasar, and then you'll find me there.
If you want to basically add Misty Outbreak's page on Facebook, you can do by just clicking on the link below there as well. On the imaginary YouTube channel link that we'll because this is pre-tape delay, guys, so we're going to be posting that at the bottom there. And Anina, where can we find you?
Yeah, where can we find you?
Find me on Facebook. You can find me on Facebook and Twitter. I will be on YouTube later on. I'm making a few videos, but they're taking time. A lot of time. But Twitter and Facebook. It's Anina Kaski, so ANNINAKASKI.
And yes, ladies and gentlemen, you can find me
In
on
your
youtube.com
droves.
/ The Nerd Genius. You could find this as well as many of our other podcasts on the Retro Unlim Network at youtube.com / Unlim Radio, or www.nerdgenius.com or www.retrounlim.com. You're going to be finding me in loads of different conventions coming up. There's more news coming up from Silent Hill Genesis, the pilot that we're currently working on. We are going to be getting the donation page up soon, just due to the fact that I'm still trying to get the active cast members filled in. We've got 9 different cast members. If you want to basically talk to me about that, you can do by emailing me at Michael Burhan at enigmar, enigmar.co.uk. That's my company email address for my film company. You can also find, if you want to basically play your songs and I Got Gameplay on many of our other shows, you can do by emailing me at Michael Burhan at nerdgenius, nerdgenius.com. And now, guys, this has been an amazing little episode for us. Next week, see, the guests don't stop here, as we have Misty this week. Next week we have the voice of James Sunderland on our episode, and that is Mr. Guy Seehey. He's got a new project coming up. I can't basically allude to what the project is, so he's going to be on here talking that. We're going to be asking him loads of questions. If you want to send us your questions, just email me at michaelburhan at nerdgenius.com. I'll get those questions straight to him, or facebook.com I Got Gameplay. Get the questions over so that I can talk to Guy, get them out there. If it's going to be live, we haven't decided if it's going to be live or pre-tape as of yet, because Guy's schedule, he's a very busy man, and he also lives in Japan, so that kind of rhymed. So there, we're going to make sure that we get all your questions and bits and pieces up to him. It's a big coup for us having such a very talented voice actor on the show. So make sure you check that out next week. The week after, we haven't decided what we're going to basically be doing. I'm going to be still talking to more people, getting more guests on the show. And as always, for Misty Outbreak, for Nina Kasky, I'm Michael Burhan for I Got Gameplay, of course, saying that we've got gameplay. Have you?